All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most complex and honestly wild narratives out there. We're unpacking the story Dr. Stephen Greer presents, a world of incredible UFO secrecy, mind-bending psionic programs, and a future that he claims has been stolen from all of us. To really get your head around the scale of what's being claimed here, we have to start with this quote. It's said to be from a CIA insider, and wow, does it set the stage for the journey we're about to go on? Look, the narrative we're exploring is like a giant, intricate mosaic made up of thousands of little data points. Our goal here is just to put those pieces together for you, step by step, so you can see the full picture that's being painted by the source material. So where does a story this big even begin? Well, according to this narrative, it starts with the very office that was set up to give us answers. The Pentagon's official UFO office, AARO. And right out of the gate, we're hit with a bombshell of a claim. The accusation isn't just that the official government effort is failing, it's that it's an active criminal fraud. So here's the core of the allegation. Whistleblowers with incredible stories were brought in to testify in a secure facility. But, allegedly, their testimonies were twisted, falsified, and buried in the reports that went back to Congress. What started as this big hope for disclosure is described as having turned into a full-blown criminal cover-up. So that begs the question, right? If the official channels are a dead end, who's really holding the secrets? Because, a public office that's a total fraud is the perfect cover for the real operations happening deep in the shadows. The key to how this has all been kept secret for decades, according to the source, is this one concept: compartmentalization. It's a normal tool in the intelligence world, but here it's described as being pushed to an absolutely insane extreme. And this is the perfect analogy for it. It's like the old story of the blind man and the elephant. You could have thousands of people working on some secret project, but each person only knows about their tiny piece. One person has the tail, another has a leg, but almost nobody ever gets to see the whole elephant. And this is the part that's just staggering. The secrecy isn't just about keeping things from you and me. The claim is that this whole operation runs completely outside the legal constitutional government. We're talking presidents, CIA directors, completely locked out. So what are they protecting with all this secrecy? Well, according to this narrative, it's something straight out of science fiction, a program that takes the human mind itself and turns it into a weapon. At the very heart of this hidden world is a program the source calls psionics. The basic idea is that these secret projects figured out a long time ago that these extraterrestrial craft interface directly with consciousness, and they've been trying to weaponize that discovery ever since. And the program is described as this horrifying pipeline. It starts by finding people with natural psychic talent, often in really desperate places like war zones. Then they're allegedly trafficked into these brutal training programs. Step 3 is where their natural abilities are supercharged with drugs and electronics. And the very few who survive this process, they're deployed as living weapons, used to hijack and bring down ET vehicles. What's really interesting here is the framing. This isn't just presented as some secret military tech. It's framed as a monstrous perversion, taking this beautiful, natural thing, human consciousness, and twisting it into something violent and ugly. But here's the twist. This dark, weaponized approach is presented right alongside a totally different path, a peaceful one that's supposedly available to anyone. So you've got these two models, and they could not be more different. One is all about force, exploitation, and technology. The other, which is called C5 contact, is all about respect, invitation, and the natural power of our own consciousness. This C5 method is laid out as a set of protocols that lets ordinary people act as peaceful ambassadors. It's all done through a state of deep meditation, using your own mind as the bridge for communication. No drugs, no tech, none of the coercive stuff from the psionics program. So why does any of this really matter? What's the big deal? Well, the argument is that these secret programs aren't just hiding UFOs. They're hiding an entirely different future for all of humanity. Think about it like we're living in a lost century. The claim is that technologies like zero-point energy and anti-gravity, stuff that could solve our planet's biggest problems, have been around for decades, but they've been ruthlessly locked away. And this timeline shows that it didn't happen overnight. It supposedly started with early experiments way back in the 1920s, then a key event with a crash near the Trinity atomic bomb test in 45. And that all culminates in what's called a quiet coup in the 1950s that allegedly took this whole subject out of the government's hands for good. And the stakes are put in really stark human terms. The source claims that the 3 billion people living in poverty, the destruction of our environment, these aren't inevitable problems. They're the direct result of keeping these technologies secret. So when you hear all that, it sounds completely hopeless, right? I mean, how do you even begin to fix something so broken and so powerful? Well, the source outlines a very specific, nonviolent plan to bring it all into the light. This solution proposed isn't some kind of war or violent uprising. It's actually a pretty clever legal and intelligence operation. First, you grant full immunity and federal protection to the high-level insiders. That gives them the courage to come forward. Then, you use their testimony to carefully and non-violently unravel the whole thing from the inside. And finally, you roll out these world-changing technologies slowly, over 15 or 20 years, so society doesn't completely collapse from the shock. And this is such a key part of the strategy. It emphasizes compassion. It views a lot of the people inside these programs as victims themselves, trapped in a system they can't get out of without being killed. This olive branch is their one safe way out. And that really leaves us with the ultimate question at the heart of this entire incredible narrative. It's a question that's so much bigger than UFOs. It's about power, secrecy, and who exactly gets to decide the future for all of us.